Hello, welcome to another episode of Ask Captain Frank. That's me. This is the part of my YouTube channel where I take questions from my YouTube channel viewers, clients from my marine survey business, or just people randomly calling me up trying to get me to answer shit for free. So today's topic is, am I buying a boat that's been sunk? And the way this topic kind of came about for this video is I was doing a survey for a client. And I looked around a little bit and I said, I think this boat has been, partially submerged or sunk. And he asked me why, and I kind of showed him the signs that I look for to determine that. But before we get into it and get started, please, as always, if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your friends and all the people you hate too. So let's just get right back into it. So during a previous survey, I found some signs that the boat that I was looking at or surveying had partially sunk or had water, in the cabin up to a certain level. So after looking at this and thinking, this is probably a pretty good topic, I went through my files and I pulled up, probably about 10 pictures of boats that had been either submerged or partially submerged. Most of them would say partially submerged. And I thought, these photos would be a good example to illustrate what I look for, or the signs that you look for to determine if a boat's been sunk or partially sunk. So I'm going to pull up these pictures and discuss each one, and I'll show you what I look for, the signs that I look for that a boat may have been sunk or at least partially submerged. So let's look at picture number one. So picture number one is one that I took when I was surveying a sailboat probably about 15 years ago. And this is inside the main cabin. It's actually right beside the galley. And if you look at this photo, you can see there's a thin line right here. It's about 7 inches up from the cabin sole. And that's the water line. That's the mark that you're looking at to see that, hey, this boat's had some water in here. And it's even clearer because if you look at the AC electrical outlet that's there, it's right in there. The lower one you can tell is corroded, has shorted, and it's corroded. And the top one, it doesn't look as bad. Doesn't look like it has been submerged. So this is one thing you're going to be looking at, water lines inside the boat to see what's going on. It'll show you if the boat's been, submerged or partially sunk. So now we're going to look at picture number two. Pulling that up, you can see that, you're looking at the bulkhead here, and you can see that it's kind of wavy, the plywood and stuff. It's kind of wavy at the bottom, at the cabin. So again, you've almost got like a little, a water line there, but more pronounced in this case. You can tell that water's been up at least into the bottom of that bulkhead. And it started to, the bulkhead started to absorb the water. And that's why it's kind of got that wavy look there. It's absorbed the water in it. And it's, that's an indication that, it's had water up to that point. And we'll look at the next picture. It's in the same boat. And you can tell on this one, it's a settee here, that, you look at the bottom there above the cabin sole, and you can see the plywood again is delaminating there. And the reason that's delaminating is because at some point it has been submerged up to that point. The water has reached that level. And finally, the third picture from this boat, another indication, what you're looking at here is the bottom of a refrigerator. And if you look, you can see the bottom of the refrigerator is badly corroded. And why is it badly corroded? All along the bottom there, because that's, the height that the water reached when this boat took on, some water. And again, it looks like it was partially submerged. And that's why, the bottom of this refrigerator is corroded. And I got one more we'll look at here. Again, this is another part of the same vessel. And you can see the discoloration here in the cabinet here, that round cabinet. You can see where the plywood has started to deteriorate. And it's got kind of a roving water stain here. And the reason that this thing has started to deteriorate is, again, because it started to absorb water. So now we're going to look at another boat and another scenario. This is a boat that I surveyed. It was a small catamaran power boat, or power cat. And I got on the boat and I looked inside the head compartment, which is in one side of the consoles. And this is what I saw. So you're looking in the head compartment. and you see this water line in there. I mean, it's very visible. It's almost over the toilet or the marine head there. And you can tell, I mean, this has obviously had water in this compartment. So now the thing to determine was, okay, has it just been in this compartment? Maybe the scupper, there's a scupper down towards the bottom of the pitcher that drains into the bilge. Has this scupper, clogged up or whatever, and it allowed water to just fill up this one compartment, rainwater or whatever? Or is it just indicative of a more widespread problem of, the boat being partially flooded? So what we're going to be looking at now is a few more pictures of this same boat. I opened up the access here to a storage locker, and here we have again the watermark, and that watermark there, and it is consistent with the level that was in the head compartment. And looking at the next picture from this boat, there's another, this is actually back at the transom in the transom locker, and you can see the watermark is here too, right? If you look there, you can see it's right about the middle of the fuel water separator filter right there. So what all this indicates on this one boat is that there has been water, it's been partially submerged, or it has had water in it in some fashion up to this mark, and it's been there a significant amount of time. I mean, it takes a little bit of time, to create a watermark like that. It's not like if it just, it floods a little bit and then you pump it out, it doesn't have time to make this watermark. So it's obviously had some water in there. And I'll talk a little bit more about this in a moment, but you have to try to determine, how this water got in there and why. And, did it partially sink in a slip, or was it on a lift or whatever? We'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end here. But these right now are the common signs you're going to see that indicate water intrusion. And we're looking at the next picture here. This is the same boat. Again, you can see the watermark there. This is on the other side of the transom or stern compartment. But I did want to point out one thing to you. Looking at this picture here. Now, if you look at this picture here, this is the raw water washdown pump. You can see you got the water line there, but you can also see the housing of the pump is badly corroded. And okay, it could have corroded, without the water being in there, but when you have equipment that's corroding like this, and you have that watermark, and they're all right at the same level there, that's an indication that the water's been there, it filled up with water, whether it was, the rainwater or whatever, and it filled up, and it started to corrode this raw water washdown pump. So those two together kind of they draw a picture of, this boat's had water in it up to this point, and it was in there a significant amount of time because the pump the housing is starting to corrode. Okay, so other indications that a boat may have been sunk, and not just the water line and stuff like that. The photo you're looking at here, and this is in the same boat, is a cockpit locker. Now, when you open that cockpit locker, and it's just above the the watermark, a little bit above. It's above the watermark, but you can see there's all kind of fungus, or it's not fungus, it's mold, black gunk and mold growth. This is an indication, and it wasn't just this, cockpit locker. It was many of the other lockers. They had this, this mold kind of growing in there. That's an indication of a high moisture environment, which would be typical of a boat that has, a significant amount of water in it. And this water has sat in there for an extended period of time, and it's generated this mold growth. So that's another indication that you would look at. This next picture, this is inside of inside the V-berth of another boat that I looked at. And you look at this here, and you can see this mold is rampant. I mean, it is mold growing all over everywhere in this, in this V-berth. And the reason it's growing in there is because the boat had water in it, and that water set for a significant amount of time. And that's why you have this high moisture environment that allows this mold to grow. Now, let's differentiate a little bit about a few things. I'm gonna show you a few pictures here, and we're gonna look at these pictures, and it's not always gonna be this obvious, of course, but I'm gonna let you look at these pictures, and I'm gonna tell you a little story. So the first picture we're gonna look at right here, this is in the main cabin of this boat. You can see there's water in there right now, right? There's water there. And we look at pull up another picture, and you look at the engine compartment, and you can see it is full of water, right? So this boat, not only has been, flooded, it is flooded still. Now, the backstory behind this boat is the boat does not have to be in the water for it to have water damage. It could be what I call sinking on dry land. This particular boat right here was stored by the owner in a typical storage lot. So he took his boat and he pulled it in this storage area, and he left the boat there. Okay, and he left it there for probably about 9 months. Now, there's a couple of things that he did wrong here that we're going to highlight. One, he not only left it there for 9 months, he didn't check it. If you've got a boat stored like that, you should check it every, at least every month or so, right? That in and of itself is kind of bad, but you combine it with the other mistakes he made. One was he forgot to pull the drain plug out. So he forgot to pull the drain plug out of the boat, and the boat gradually filled up with rainwater. He had a bilge pump on there, and the bilge pump, it operated until the batteries died. And then it just said, screw it, I'm out of here. And that's why the boat filled up with water. So the boat that you're looking at is the result of sinking on land. It was on a trailer in a storage lot. The owner forgot to check it, and he forgot to pull the drain plug. And the combination of those two things, plus a lot of rain, meant that boat sunk on land. So the final picture that I'm going to show you, you'd think it's bad enough the boat floods partially or whatever. You'd think that's bad enough. But this picture I'm going to show you right now proves that it can get worse. So the picture you're looking at now is a boat that was partially flooded. And then here comes Old Man Winter. And when Old Man Winter came, all that water in the bilge froze. So that boat is not only partially flooded, you can look at the engine too. You can see that halfway up the engines, that's ice. So the boat, not only did it flood, but now it's got 1.5 feet of ice in the bilge and around the engines. And you can just imagine what that will probably do to the engines and blocks and stuff, particularly if they're not, winterized, which in this case they were not. So I guess the takeaway from all this is when you're buying a boat, your surveyor will, or he should look, and if he sees any signs and symptoms of this, that the boat's been partially sunk, or any indication, he's going to point it out to you. If you see a water line in there, don't just say, hey, that's a water line and then that's it. You got to find out why it's there. Has the boat, every time I see a water line like this on a small boat, particularly, I try to determine, okay, did the boat sink in the slip? Was it on a lift and the owner forgot to pull the drain plug and it gradually flooded? Or was it on a trailer? The same kind of thing. The end result's pretty much the same. You've got water that's resting in the boat for a long period of time. And I can assure you, no good ever comes of water being in the bilge. No good ever comes of water being in the bilge. I used to survey a lot of wooden boats, a lot of wooden fishing boats, commercial boats, and the captains would be like, we like to keep a little water in there to keep our bilge sweet smelling. And I'm like, no, what it is, you got a leak, you can't find out where it is. And that's why all that water's in the bilge. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Always have your boat inspected, or when you're your potential purchase, have it inspected by a surveyor to make sure that you're not getting in any of these money traps that you're getting in here. At least know what you're getting into. That's the goal of the surveyor. It's for me. My goal is not to crush anybody's dreams, by finding bad stuff on boats. I want people to have boats, and everybody wants to have boats. They want to buy them. And my goal is to make sure that you know what you're getting into, not to crush your dreams or whatever. The survey will say, well, this is bad, this. And everybody's like, because nobody wants to hear any bad stuff. The buyer doesn't want to hear any bad stuff typically. The seller certainly don't. And the broker for damn sure doesn't want to hear any bad stuff. So the surveyor, he lets you know what's going on. Oh, this is bad. This needs to be done. And then he's like, well, it's not all that bad. This is what you do to fix it. This is what you do to fix it. And this is what's got to be done to fix it. So it's just a matter of knowing what you're getting into when you buy a boat. And again, hope you like this video. I'm not sure what the next one will be, but it'll be pretty good, I'm sure, as all the rest of them are. If you get bored while waiting on that, please be sure to check out my 60-second surveys. I typically have those short videos every day every couple of days. And please check out my online store. I got ball caps just like this right here. I got sun caps. I got my nautical trivia book for sale. All kind of good stuff in there. So until the next one, stay safe. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, and you want to buy Captain Frank a cup of coffee, please click on the thanks button below this video. All tips received, not spent on coffee, will be used to improve my YouTube channel and create even more awesome videos.